when you look at the human experience, nobody gets out without pain. There is pain everywhere. I don't care if you have $1 billion, if you have no money, if you're homeless or you've got family all around you, you are going to experience pain in your life, and you're going to experience at certain times some really significant pain. And that sucks, and I wish it weren't the case, but that is the human experience. Now, I believe our pain is a way to be, it can be used as a teacher, and I believe that pain is actually a very important aspect of the human experience. If you think about not being able to experience pain, whether it be physical or emotional, we probably wouldn't have survived as a species for very long. So pain is a great indicator of something is wrong. You need to change quickly. And when I use pain, we can also talk about fear and pain kind of being interlinked. So if we understand that that's part of the human experience, and it can be, and I'll talk about this in a little bit, it can be a good teacher if we allow it to. What we tend to do is we tend to feel pain, whether it be emotional or physical pain, and then we get fear about how am I going to resolve this pain? How am I going to manage this? How am I going to get myself out of this situation, whether it be grief from a loss, or whether it be, an argument with a loved one, or whether it be, being fired from a job. That emotion is so intense, we get afraid of that emotion. And humans are fear-based creatures. We are motivated by fear, and if anybody wants to challenge me on that, I ask them to challenge me on that. We are motivated by fear. And people are like, no, I'm motivated by money, because you're afraid of being poor. And I work with people that are very, very wealthy, and I've worked with people that are, on TV and in movies and stuff, and they say, I finally get to this place where none of this stuff really matters, because I still feel the same way. I still have my own insecurities, even though I've got 5 Bentleys in the garage. So we have this idea of, okay, there's pain, and I don't know how to get out of the pain. And that's a whole nother topic of not having enough understanding of how we walk through pain and fear. And that's part of our historical conditioning, but that'll be another topic. And so what we end up doing is we create this narrative over here. And the narrative is a way in which my mind can feel like it's got some control of the pain I'm experiencing. So let's say I lose my job, and it's very painful, and I'm very angry, and I'm very resentful, and I'm feeling a lot of sadness and shame and guilt. And I don't know what to do with those emotions. What my brain will start doing is going, well, my boss is a jerk, right? Or I'm not very smart. Or had Susie in the other office not gotten the position, I would have gotten the position. We make all these excuses for what we're experiencing as a distraction from the original feeling of pain. This over here is suffering. Pain is 100% unavoidable. Suffering is 100% avoidable if we allow ourselves to feel the emotion. Emotional intelligence is not about not feeling emotion or only having healthy or happy emotions. Emotional intelligence, EQ, is about understanding what you're feeling and recognizing that it is a signal that is being communicated to you, that there is either something wrong and you need to change, there is a way in which you're thinking that isn't congruent with your true nature, or that there's something right and you need to keep doing what you're doing, right? Or that you're in trouble and you need to move yourself or move your body to avoid getting hurt. Emotions are very healthy, even anger. Anger is a very healthy emotion. Pain is a very healthy emotion. Fear is a very healthy emotion. Shame, some people will argue that shame is a healthy emotion. Some people will argue that it's not. I tend to believe that shame is more toxic than good. But again, the narrative that we make about our current situation is the suffering. That's avoidable. But we have to recognize we're doing it. Acceptance, you start quoting 12-step literature, acceptance is the key. It really is the key to most of our problems in life. If I can accept what is, and this is why Eastern philosophy, Buddhism, and Hinduism really teach this acceptance of what is. If I can accept the way it is right now and not fight it, the suffering's gone. As animals, as biological creatures, we are prone to avoid pain and go towards pleasure. That's just what we're designed to do. And again, in our culture, we're really influenced in that way of, purchase and buy and do to have pleasure, and it'll get rid of your pain and your fear. But if you don't have a lot of resources, and I'm not just talking about money, if you just don't have a lot of intellectual or emotional resources, the brain wants to find the quickest way to get feeling better, right? And there's, you talk to a lot of people that are a lot smarter than I am. I love Andrew Huberman. I think he does a heck of a lot of great work with just the neurobiology of humans and dopamine and all of that. And that's way outside of my pay grade. But if we look at fear or pain, right? The brain's like, get out of this as quickly as possible. How do I get out of this as quickly as possible? And if you're a young person like I was at 13, 14 years old, and I discovered alcohol was great for getting rid of pain and fear and anxiety. It just killed it immediately. And so the brain learns that, hey, that's a good idea. Do that, and you won't feel this way. And so we do that, and we do it more, and we do it more. And for a while, there's no problems. Maybe for some people, there's problems immediately. For me, there was no problems for many years. But then eventually, the behavior that I'm using to calm down the underlying condition, that behavior, that substance is no longer working. And then I need more of it, and it's still not working. And I need more of it, and it's still not working. So it's a way to avoid feeling the feeling temporarily. Short-term gratification versus long-term gratification. But in my experience, eventually the feeling's coming. Remember, emotions are energy, especially those of us that have trauma, people that have significant trauma. That energy is stuck in their body, and you can mask it, you can push it down, you can drink it away for a while, you can go buy a bunch of stuff and it'll go away for a while, but eventually that energy has to go somewhere. And I see this all the time in my practice. You get people in their 30s and their 40s, and they're having what we used to call nervous breakdown, or they're just going through a ton of emotional situations in their life, and they're realizing my old behaviors are no longer working to fix these emotions that I've been avoiding. It's an avoidance mechanism, and you can't run away from your emotions. You just can't. And in this day and age, the newer generation is recognizing that emotions aren't bad, emotions aren't weak, emotions aren't, you're not a pussy for feeling your emotions. You're supposed to feel your emotions. And it doesn't matter what gender you are, what sexuality you are, what race you are, what your socioeconomic status is. You have to be able to feel your emotions because they're there for a reason. I mean, they really are. This isn't something that was just brought in by evolution to screw up our day. If we listen to what our body and mind are telling us, we're going to get on the right path. And I believe if you can listen to those, you will eventually get on the right path.